All right, here is how to work the 2.1, 2.2 skill check quiz. So number one asks us to solve the equation and check. We have 8x minus 7 is equal to 5 plus 4x. So what you want to do is you want to combine the like terms, right? We know that the 8x and the 4x go together and that the 7 and the 5 are like terms, and it's a -7 and a +5, right? However, one second. However, this is a wall, the equal sign, okay? So you can't just combine like terms if one is on one side of the wall, the other's on the other side. So instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start moving the x's or the variables to one side and moving the constants to the other side. So I'm gonna write it over here so that we have enough room. It was 8x minus 7 is equal to 5 plus 4x. And what I want to do is I want to move the x's to the left of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract 4x so that this 4x is canceled with via subtraction. So below the 8x, because they're like terms, I'm going to put minus 4x. 4x minus 4x cancels the x, which is what we wanted to do. We still have the 5. We still have the -7 because we didn't do anything with those, but 8x minus 4x gives us 4x on this side, okay? Now you want to take that 7 and you want to cancel that 7, and we're subtracting 7 from 4x, so the opposite of subtracting 7 is to add 7. Right below the 5, I will add 7. Good. So now I have that 4x is alone on this side because those cancel. 5 plus 7 is 12. 4x equals 12. My last step, this is now just a single step equation to solve, get x alone. So I'm going to divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 cancels that. So I'm left with x. 12 divided by 4, if you put that into your calculator, you'll get a 3. So we're going to say the solution is x is 3 in this case. Okay. Here's another two-step equation that we need to solve for x. Here we need to move the x to one side and a constant to the other side. Here you already have the constant on this side without any x. So what you want to do is move this constant as well. Okay, so right now it's -6.8 minus 2x equals 2.0. Write it over here so we have room. -6.8 minus 2x equals 2.0, which is the same as the number 2, right? I said we want to move that -6.8x over. So to move it, we just do the opposite. It's being subtracted. So we're going to add it. -6.8 plus 6.8 is going to give us 0. Anything I do to this side of the equal sign, I have to do to this side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add 2.0 plus 6.8. Those cancel. I'm left with -2x here equals 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 2 is 8. So -2x equals 8.8. And don't hesitate to use your calculator, okay? 2.0 plus 6.8 gives me, 2.0 plus 6.8 gives me 8.8. Good. Now we're going to divide that by not 2, but -2, okay? Divide both sides by -2. That will give me my x alone, and I get x is equal to -4.4. -4.4. Good. All right, it says type in an integer or a decimal. That would be a decimal because we have a point and then a number after that decimal point. Number 3 asks us to solve the equation 4 times the quantity x minus 10 is equal to 12x, okay? Here, we are distributing the 4 to the x and to the -10, okay? Or, because this is multiplication, if you want to get rid of it, you can also divide by 4 on this side, divide by 4 on this side. But that's only because you can divide 12 by 4, usually you will not be able to evenly divide this whole side of the equation by this. So we're instead going to distribute. 4 times x becomes 4x. 4 times negative 10 is a negative 40 equals 12x. Okay. We want our x's on one side and our constants on the other. It doesn't matter. In both of these examples, I moved the x's to the left. But here I have a positive 12x here and a positive 4x here. If I move this to the left, I'll end up with a negative x. I don't like that as much. So I'm just going to move the 4x over this time. It's up to you which direction you move them. It doesn't matter. And it might matter because it'll make it harder or easier, but you won't get a different answer. You're not doing it wrong. 12 minus 4 gives us 8, right? So now I have negative 40 equals 8x. I'm just going to divide both sides by 8. Negative 40 divided by 8 is negative 5. So we have negative 5 equals x. Good. I'll show you also what I was saying about 4 times the quantity x minus 10 equals 12x. So what I did to distribute that 4 is I multiplied it by the x and multiplied it by the negative 10, right? The opposite of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4, right? So if this is easy, I can just go like this, and I'm left with what was inside the parentheses. The x minus 10 equals 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 12x divided by 4 is 3x. Now I'm going to add 10, add 10. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to do that. That's a 3x. It's not just a 3. And I've done math wrong. Sorry. All right, we have x minus 10 equals 3x. I'm going to subtract this x so that they're all together. Here, those cancel, right? I'm just left with a negative 10 over here. 3x minus x is the same as saying 1x. 3x minus 1x is 2x. So I have negative 10 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. And I get x is negative 5. So basically, I'm sorry for the mistake. I hope I didn't make it more complicated. But basically, you can get rid of the 4 first, or you can distribute the 4 and solve it. Either way, you'll end up with the same answer, okay? There are oftentimes more than one ways to solve a problem. Number 4, it's the same thing, but here we have fractions, okay? We have 9t over 14 minus t over 7 equals 1. Good. Even if you really like fractions and you know what to do to get it so that you can subtract something over 14 from something over, or something over 7 from something over 14, I would still get rid of the fraction. Okay, that's the first thing I would do, is I would multiply it by something to get rid of that fraction completely. What you want to multiply it by is a number that you can divide by 14 and you can divide by 7. So the number 14 you can divide by 4. Oops, I always have like a number in there and it messes me up. So the number 14 divided by 14 gives you 1, and the number 14 divided by 7 gives you 2. So that's what I mean by here are your denominators. You want to find a number that you can divide by that denominator and by that denominator, okay? The smallest of those numbers, you're just going to multiply everything by. Anything you do to this side, you have to do to this side of the equal sign. So we're multiplying both sides of the equal sign by the number 14, okay? To turn this into a fraction, I'm just going to call it 14 over 1 because 14 divided by 1 is 14. Sound good? So I'm dividing this side of the equation by 14 and this side of the equation by 14. Let me pause my video. Sorry, I needed some paper. Now this looks a lot like this, right? I have parentheses and then something outside the parentheses. What I did then was I distributed the 4 to the x and the 4 to the negative 10. So now because I'm multiplying everything by 14, I'm going to distribute that 14. So it's 14 over 1 times 9t over 14 minus another 14 over 1 times t over 7 equals 1 times 14. Okay? Just to make that clear. So we're just distributing the 14 to the 9t and to the negative t. Okay? And then on this side, we're just multiplying it by 1. So that means we have 14 times 9t over 1 times 14, right? And then you have a negative or minus 14 times t over 1 times 7 equals 14, right? Because anything, sorry, anything times 1 is itself. So that's the same down here, right? Anything by 1 is itself, anything by 1 is itself. So I can rewrite those as 14 times 9t over 14, because 14 times 1 is just 14, minus 14 times t over 7, because 7 times 1 is just 7, right? Okay, so now what I want you to do, you can say 14 times 9. You can do that if you want. 14 times 9 becomes 126. So we could call this 126t over 14 minus 14t over 7 equals 14. That's not wrong, okay? But this always means divide, right? So 126 is going to be divided by 14. 14 is going to be divided by 7. Again, the reason we chose 14 is that we can divide it by 7 and get a whole number, right? So negative 14 divided by 7, let's put that into our calculator. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So 14t over 7 is just going to be 2t, okay? There's a minus sign, so I'm going to bring that minus sign along. It was just all of this was negative. So you could say negative 14 over positive 7, negative parentheses 14 over 7, or any way you want to write it, right? You just have to maintain that negative sign. That 14 is going to stay the same. And here, 126 divided by 14. 126 divided by 14 is 9. So that's actually 9t, right? Also, so you can multiply those and then divide that by that, or you can say 14 and 14 are common to both the top, are common factors on top and on bottom. So I'm just going to call it 9t. I'm going to cancel those out and write that as 9t. Or I can multiply those and divide them by the denominator. Either way, okay? But make sure that makes sense how we got to there. 9t minus 2t, now we're just combining like terms. 9 minus 2 becomes 7. 7t equals 14. And we're going to divide both sides by 7. T is 2. Okay? If you're very unsure of your answer, you can then put that into your original equation. So 9 times 2 over 14 minus 2 over 7 should give me 1. Okay, and you can say, is that true? 9 times 2 is 18. 18 over 14. 18 over 14 is 1.29, right? And what did we say? 2 over 7? 2 over 7 is that, okay? So 1.2857 minus 0.2857 is going to give me that 1. So you can put that back into your equation and check your work if you're worried. All right, so I would say the solution is t equals 7. Good. All right. Number 5 is asking us to use the sentences they're giving us to create an equation and solve create an equation, solve the equation for the one variable we're using, and then use that one variable to find three numbers. So it says one number is 8 times a first number. A third number is 100 more than the first number. The sum of the three numbers is 570. Find the numbers. So then we know there are three numbers. There's number A, there's number B, and there's number C. The sum means we add. The sum of the three numbers is 570. So A plus B plus C is 570. There's my equation they're asking for, okay? The sum of the three numbers is 570. The sum of A, B, and C is 570. Those are the three numbers, okay? However, this isn't wrong, but they are asking for it in, we need to find those numbers, right? So we know how to solve if we have just one X, right? Just one variable, X, right? We don't know how to solve if we have X, Y, and Z. So if I had A plus 2A plus 3A equals 570, right? A plus 2A plus 3A equals 570. That just means 6A equals 570. Divide by 6. Find A equals, right? So instead of A, B, C, we need to turn it all into one variable. Okay, so we need to read the information they gave us and turn A, B, and C into amounts into something that looks like it only has one variable, okay? And we'll use you can use whatever variable you want. We'll use X because we've been using X throughout the quiz. One number is 8 times a first number. So we're going to call A first number. Okay. One number is 8 times a first number. A third number, so I'm going to call this the third number. One number is 8 times a first number. A third number is 100 more than the first number, okay? So first number, I'm going to call X, or you can call it A if you want, okay? First number, I'm going to call X, okay? But it's, yeah. I can't decide if I should call it X or A. Call it A. The first number is A, okay? One number is 8 times a first number. We called it A because A is the first letter. A third number is 100 more than the first number. That's A again, okay? One number is 8 times a first number. A third number is 100 more than the first number. If the sum of the three numbers is 570, so here's all three numbers is equal to 570. We're showing that here, right? So we're going to say A plus that one, right? Plus that one equals 570. Let me show you what I mean. A is a first number, okay? Or the first number, okay? That's A. Now we have one number. One number is 8 times a first number. That's this guy. One number is 8 times a first number, but we know a first number is A. So one number is 8 times A. Is that okay? Because a first number we called A. One number is 8 times A, so that's 8A. A third number is 100 more than the first number. A third number is 100 more than the first number, A. 100 more than A is 100 plus A. Good? So we said one number is 8 times a first number. A third number is 100 more than the first number. The sum of the three numbers, A plus 8 times that first number plus 100 more than that first number is 570. Okay, so they want you to take all the information they gave you and turn it into one equation with only one variable. Okay, we made an equation here, but this has three different variables, A and B and C. You need to take B and put it in terms of the first number. And they told us what it was in terms of the first number. In terms of the first number, B is 8 times the first number. So B is 8 times A. C in terms of A was 100 plus A, or A plus 100. Okay, so we put them all in terms of the first number, just because that's what they were referencing in the sentences, a first number. Okay, so what we got was A plus B plus C equals 570 becomes A plus 8A plus 100 plus A equals 570. Now, that was definitely the hardest part. Now we just combine like terms, okay? So we have A, positive 8A, and another A. So that becomes 10A plus the original 100 equals 570. Subtract 100. 10A equals 470. Good. Divide by 10, divide by 10, and we get A is 47. Okay. We're not done because it wants all three numbers. The three numbers are, our first number is 47. B is 8 times A, right? So that means it's 8 times 47. So that is, I'm just going to use my calculator. 47 times 8 is 376. And then C is 100 plus the first number. So that will be 100 plus 47, which is 147. So the three numbers are 47, 376, and 147. Good. Use commas to separate the answers. It doesn't tell you what order to put them in. So that is question 5. Question 6 says, in a survey at a local university, 35% of students say they got less than the recommended 8 hours of sleep per night. In a group of 2,700 students, how many would you expect to get 8 or more hours of sleep per night? Okay, so this is a percent. Sorry, wasn't in the frame. This is a percent question. 35% is the decimal point 0.35. Okay, so you take a percent, you move the decimal place over 2 places. 100% becomes, move the decimal place over 1 whole. Okay, 50%. You have 50, you move the decimal place over, it becomes 0.5. Okay, so that's how you find percent. So 35% is 0.35 of all students get less than 8 hours of sleep. Out of 2,700, how many get 8 or more hours of sleep? So you have 2,700 is all the students, right? 35% of the students get less sleep, right? What percent then get more sleep? 35% of 100 get less sleep. So to get more sleep, we just take 100 minus that 35%, and we say 65% get more sleep. Okay. Remember, to turn that into a decimal, you just move that the decimal place over, and that's 1. 35% becomes 0.35. 65% becomes 0.65. All right, let's do an example. 100% of 2,700. 2,700 times 1, right? Now, 2,700 times 35% is 945. And then 2,700 times 65%, or 0.65 is 1,755. Good. Plus, let's just add. So if this is true, if my numbers are true, that means 35% plus 65%, right? 35 plus 65 should equal 100. So these two numbers should equal the 2,700. 945 plus 1755 is 2,700. Good. So how many students got 8 or more hours of sleep? 1755 students. Good. Or you can say 2,700 total. I know that 2,700 times 0.35 is 945. Got less, right? And I know that they want to know how many got more sleep, so I can just subtract those numbers. 2,700 minus 945 is 1,755. Get more sleep. So you can subtract the actual percent, or you can subtract the number after you've multiplied it by the percent. Anyway, either way, it's 1,755 students. Okay, our last one, number 7. Number 7 asks us the perimeter of a triangle is 168. Perimeter means all the sides added together. Okay, so this is a lot like question number 5. So we have side A, side B, and side C. Good. And if I add them all together, I'll get 168 inches total. So A is 4x, B is 7x plus 2, C is 7x plus 4. So I'm just going to substitute those in. So it was 4x plus 7x plus 2 plus 7x plus 4 equals 168. These parentheses are just to say that this is all in inches, but it's also there to confuse you, I guess. It's very confusing. So you can ignore them because they're just saying that those are the units. All right. 4x, 7x, and 7x are all like terms. 4 plus 7 plus 7 is 18. So that becomes 18x. And then 2 and 4 is 6 equals 168. Now I'm going to subtract that 6. 168 minus 6 becomes 162, right? Equals 18x. Good. Sorry, I kind of ran out of room, so I moved it over here. Now I'm going to take that 162 and that 18 and divide them both by 18. 162 divided by 18 gives me 9. Okay, so I know x is 9. Good. Now I need to say that A is 4 times 9. B is 2 plus 7 times 9. Sorry, I wrote it backwards. And then 4 plus 7 times 9. Okay, so 4 times 9 is 36. 7 times 9 plus 2 is 65. And then 7 times 9 plus 4 is 67. We have 36, 65, and 67. Use ascending order. That just means put the smallest number first, biggest number last. Okay. Finally, number 8. There are 3 consecutive even integers. If twice the first integer added to the second is 2, 6, 8, 2, 4, 4, find all 3 integers. Okay. There are 3 consecutive even integers. Think about what consecutive even integers means. 2, 4, and 6 are consecutive even integers, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Or we could say 48, 50, and 52 are consecutive even integers, okay? just like back with question 5, we want to put all of these integers into one variable. So 48 could be x, 50 could be x plus 2, right? And 52 is x plus 4. Those will be consecutive even integers. It's true for 2, 4, and 6, 2, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 4. 48, 48 plus 2, 48 plus 4. 100, 100 plus 2, 100 plus 4. Okay? Those are consecutive even integers. Okay? Now, we know that they are x, x plus 2, and x plus 4, just because of the rule that they are even and they are one after the other. Okay? If twice the first integer, so x is the first integer, they are saying twice the first integer. Twice means 2 times, right? 2 times the first integer added to the second integer we decided was x plus 2 means equals twice the first integer added to, this is the second integer, because any second number is just going to be I added 2 to the first number. Right? This is the first integer. I'm going to add 2 and get the second integer. I'm going to add 4 and get the third integer. Twice the first integer added to the second integer is 268,244. Find all 3 integers. Good. All right, so we have 2x, twice the first integer, added to the second integer. The second integer is x plus 2, is equal to 268,244. Now we just combine like terms. I know it looked messy, but it's not. It's just 3x plus 2 equals that big number. Let's subtract 2. We get 3x equals 268,242. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. 268,242 divided by 3 is x is 89,414. Good. And we had x as our first integer, x plus 2 as our second integer, and x plus 4 as our third integer, right? Those were our rules. So this number is 89,414. This one is 89,416, and this is 89,418 because we added 2 to that number and then we added 4 to that number. Good.